prenatal classes. So today we will see the pranayama techniques which we can practice in pregnancy or which we can advise for pregnant women. So like obviously we know what is pranayama. Controlled breathing techniques is known in yoga. It is one of the form of yoga only. But how? Only breathing techniques. As we saw, yogasanas are fully body physical activities. But whereas mudras only hand gestures. But whereas this pranayama is only the breathing techniques which will rule the especially the emotional status, or the even they will get benefited, or they have positive vibes on other health issues also. But mainly these breathing techniques make us relax, make us stressful. Who obviously, as we are dealing with the pregnancy, they will be dealing with frustration, depression, mood swings especially, right? So these all can be controlled, and with that other health beneficial also we have has importance during pregnancies, enhances physical, emotional and mental well-being by doing pranayama. Benefits, special benefits of pranayama during pregnancy are: reduces stress and anxiety, as I said, improves oxygen supply for mother and baby. As this, it is a specially breathing techniques, right? So as it is breathing technique, it will be very beneficial in oxygen supply to a mother and also to a fetus. Enhances lungs capacity and breathing efficacy, helps manage mood swings and promotes relaxation, prepare the body for labor and delivery, which we advised in last trimesters. Even that pranayamas will make the mother or make the body of a pregnant woman to get ready for a labor, that is nothing but deliver. But some precautionary steps we have to take in pranayama has, like I was explaining during yoga or asanas, while we discussing about the pranayama, I said some like usually pranayama means go for only alternative nostril breathing. Only that you can advise anuloma viloma, but not others. According to my practice, obviously yes, but according to precautionary tips they gave, consult a doctor before starting. Obviously yes, because has though like many of you are like yoga instructors, right? Then too, though you are a yoga instructor, her do's and don'ts or the complications of her pregnancy, or like stages condition of her pregnancy will be well known by her gynecologist, right? So before starting any sort of exercises or pranayama or mudras, kindly advise them to take a consent form or advice from her gynecologist. Because if like though we know, like as I am a Ayurvedic doctor, you all are a yoga instructors, we know that whatever we are advising are beneficial to our clients or to our patients, like me to my patients. But how the like condition is, or how the marketing is going on, if any complication happened during labor or in a stretch of pregnancy, and if the gynecologist don't have any idea that her patient is going through some yogasanas or some pranayamas, not only yogasana pranayama, any other activities, then directly they will blame us. Like without my consultation, you went there, so it happened. Directly they will concern. They will blame. One thing. Another thing, has manually to know the condition of a like pregnant woman. Obviously, the gynecologist will be knowing what to do and what not to do for her, right? So it's better to take advice from gynecologist. Then you can start. Though, like some women will be before pregnancy or before marriage also. Since many years they will be practicing yogasanas. Though they know everything, how to do, what to do, then too it's better to take consultation or visit once gynecologist. They take their consent, then you can start. And avoid holding breath for too long. Some pranayamas we have, right? Like Kumbha. We will inhale the breath and we will hold the breath for some seconds. Then we will exhale. That how it should be avoided to hold breath for longer duration. Practice on an empty stomach is a well ventilated area, in a well ventilated area. Obviously, whatever pranayama we are advising, that should be practiced in empty stomach to get a good result. Also to avoid complications, because as we know, this pranayama is breathing technique. If our stomach is full, obviously we will not be comfortable to do this pranayama, and also it may create complications like belching or regurgitation may happen. So it's better to do in empty stomachs. Avoid intense, and also obviously in well ventilated area. As we know, in pregnant women already they will be having difficulty in breathing, or the pressurized breathing due to diaphragm pressure of a fetus. So it's better if they are doing pranayama, it should be a ventilated area. Avoid intense or forceful breathing techniques. Immediately if discomfort arises. If woman, though you advised any simple tips or you're advising simple breathing also, if the pregnant woman is feeling discomfort, it's better to stop for some time. And if she is feeling good, then she can continue. Pranayama techniques for pregnancy. Obviously, as we discussed, Anuloma Viloma. Here, Anuloma Viloma is nothing but we know alternative nostril breathing. But what it will do? It will balances the energy and makes the mind calm or relaxation. Then or remember one thing, whichever pranayama it may be, the overall single advice for doing pranayama is they should, however they can sit. It's not compulsory that they should sit on floor only, they should sit on chair only, they should sit like particular seat. But wherever they are sitting, they should be in a relaxed, comfortable position, and their backs should be straight and shoulder also should be relaxed, and their neck or head should be straight. And uh, most probably for every pranayama which are not included with hands anything, then the chin mudra or dhyana mudra or jnana mudra should be of their palms, and obviously they should face up. They should sit if possible in first trimester everything they can sit down with padmasana, or else on chair only they can keep their hands on their thighs or knee joint with dhyana mudra or jnana mudra, and they should sit straight and they should do. Obviously anuloma viloma is nothing but close one nostril, take breathe from the left. As I am closing now right nostril, take breathe from the left nostril, then close the left nostril and exhale with the right nostril, and vice versa. This how much like how many times we should do? Usually it may be any pranayama, any breathing techniques. They should start with the 6 to 7 cycles. Like I did right nostril closing and left nostril is closing and right nostril. This cycle should be minimum for beginners. It should be 7 cycles. But as they are able to do, as they are comfortable to do, as they pass on, as they practice pass on, they can increase their cycles. And maximum in pregnancy, if you advise 10 cycles, it's better because it may give pressure to her their breathing or respiratory. So minimum like maximum 10 cycles you can do this. This is anloma and viloma. Bhramari, like be breathe. Be breathe has name only suggests. What benefits we have from Bhramari? Reduces stress and soothes the nervous system. Why soothes the nervous system is, has Bhramari, has name only suggests, we should inhale. Obviously, the basic steps are same. We should inhale and we should exhale with the B breathe. Like this sound, whichever like we are doing while exhaling, that is nothing but B sound, right? So it is also known as B breathe. But has this is a process. But in some context of yoga or asanas or pranayamas, they gave a different postures. Or if you ask any like yoga instructors also, they may say this same yogic or pranayama steps with different postures or hand gestures. Like some will say inhale, they will close with the index fingers, they will close their ear, they will keep near ear, and they will exhale. One. Or some may advise like closing both ears and exhaling. Or the main basic like Brahmari pranayama which we see, this little finger should be below your lips, and this ring finger should be above your lips. Middle finger should be on the bridge of nose, and this index finger should be on your eyelids, but you should not press your eyelid, just you can place your fingers on eyelids, and thumb should be near ears, or you can slightly close your ears. And you should inhale. This is nothing but Brahmari, that is like Brahmari pranayama. And while exhaling, they should not cut the breath. While saying Om word, how we will say, we will not cut in between, right? Om. we like maximum till exhaling point of view, we should extend it. Then due to that sound which we create while exhaling, that will create the stimulation or soothing of the nervous system. And coming for Ujjayi Pranayama or ocean breathe has, again, see, in English terms, according to the steps which we follow in pranayama, they give. Like ocean breathe is nothing but obviously its benefits are improves focus and oxygen flow. How oxygen flow? Because it's work on lungs capacity. Like has. Again, here also it's in three forms. But this Ujjayi belongs to only this part. It will not be related to down part. How means when we inhale, while exhaling, we should concentrate on like this throat or neck muscles. We should exhale by here. Like we are inhaling, one part how they show is while exhaling, after inhaling, while exhaling, what we are creating sound is ocean sound, right? So they named it as ocean breathing. One step is this one, or in some steps they will show like second step, they will roll their tongue. Inhale, by rolling their tongue, they will leave. One, or the like third step is inhale, but while exhaling, they will close their mouth, but they will exhale from here by creating a sound. That we are exhaling through this, contracting these muscles, and the sound comes is like a ocean breathe. So it is named as ocean breathe. So this is about Ujjayi Pranayama. And Dirgha Pranayama obviously has, it contains three parts breathing. Which are three parts here? Abdomen, chest part, and above the chest, clavicle part. How? Has, while inhaling, first step about abdomen. First part of breath is abdomen. While inhaling, we should concentrate on abdomen breath. Like abdomen distension. How it will be distended? Frontwards. It will be distended frontwards, and we should exhale in a slow manner. But some will say like after inhaling, slowly you should exhale. That is abdomen part. And about chest has here, while inhaling we are concentrating on abdomen, it is moving forwards. This chest part should be widened in width part. While I am inhaling, this is widening chest part, and slowly you can exhale. They cycle another, like we will complete all three steps. Third step is has, here abdomen was distending while inhaling, chest was widening. This clavicle part is, it should elevate upwards while inhaling. This, it should elevate upwards, and slowly you can exhale. So obviously these all parts combining if we do, that is yogic pranayama. Like how, as we are doing single part of breathe for 6 to 7 cycles, 6 to 7 cycles, 6 to 7 cycles. But if any person is able to do all the three together, how the three, not at a time, what we did stepwise, like abdomen should be extended, chest should be widened, and this clavicle part should be elevated. If the person is able to move all these three parts together while inhaling and slowly exhales, that is a yogic pranayama. So for this reason they mentioned Dirgha Pranayama has three part breathing. Obviously, as we are concentrating fully on uh, respiration through inhalation, it will enhance the lungs capacity. So because of this reason, the oxygen capacity, oxygen observation will be more in pregnant women. So these four pranayamas are very safe during pregnancy to advise. But as I said in beginning, this is according to classics. According to my own experience, or obviously I'm not a yoga instructor, though I'm a doctor, I know like all mentality peoples will come has a to take yoga asanas classes, not in like in a online way. For your clients I'm saying. So if they are already well versed in yoga or pranayama, Then they will be knowing that how to breathe, how to inhale, how to exhale, how much to take inhalation, how much to in which pressure to exhale. So there will not be any complication. But think, if any pregnant woman, she is not at all like related to yogas, asanas, or any classes, but she came to have a yoga, asanas, or pranayama in only in pregnancy by others' advice. Obviously, she will not be having idea how to inhale, how to exhale, right? So, according to my view, it may cause pressure on her abdomen or it may cause some complications. So, either with fully step instructing a pregnant woman, you can advise all these steps, or else like you will be knowing well about your clients, right? How they are, how they can grab your words. So it's better. Anuloma Viloma is everyone can do, nothing but Nadi Shodhana, what we saw. These all steps according to your understanding of your clients, you can advise them. So obviously what I discussed till now, one thing, while advising these to pregnant women, it should be step by step instruction, how much to inhale, how to exhale, how to sit, how to do everything. And it should be in a simple language, they should better understand your words. uh, because if they are a layman, they won't have any knowledge about the yoga asana, and if we say inhale, exhale, obviously nowadays everyone know these words, but what if that words are not grabbed by that pregnant woman? So it should be a pretty simple language to make them to understand easily. And we saw which all pranayamas we should advise them. But when to avoid these pranayamas in high risk pregnancy, not only high risk, the pregnancy is absolutely normal, then you can do give all those pranayamas with instruction. But if they have any complication, bit complication, then better to avoid. If experiencing dizziness, shortness of breath, or discomfort, obviously we should avoid. During first trimester, limit the stressing techniques, like how we saw. We are stressing on uh, if obviously these four are safer, but if they are feeling like it's stressing their abdomen, or like if they are not understanding how to breathe, then it's in such condition we can avoid. Incorporating pranayama into daily life, obviously one is the best time. As we discussed, it should be done in empty stomach to have a better results. So obviously morning or in evening, because afternoon nearly 1 to 2, or nearly till 3 o'clock they will be had food, right? So there will be gap of 2 to 3 hours till evening, so they can go in a evening times. Combine with light yoga stretches for better results. With pranayama, whatever we are doing with this, if they have like yoga asanas, whichever to be advised according to trimester, we know by doing the combination of that, they will get a good results. And special last point is emphasize consistency over intensity. If they are doing today, if they give gap for 2 days, again the alternative day, third day they came, again they are doing, I think again they are giving gap for 2 days, it will not give result. That will create the complication in them. So if they are starting, it should be a consistency. It should be on daily basis. So this was overall knowledge about the pranayama. So now we will get to know according to trimester which all we can advise, and like what benefits or pros and cons we have. Obviously, in as we came to know, it's a breathing technique, and first trimester is obviously due to hormonal imbalance. The pregnant woman will be feeling very mood swings, and she will be like initially all changes will be going within her, right? So like stopping of period maybe, or hormonal imbalance, or the implantation, the fatigue, dizziness. So these all will be relaxed by pranayama. But which all pranayama we can do? Dirgha pranayama, as we saw, deep breathing. Ujjayi pranayama, that is ocean breathing, we can advise on first trimester. But which pranayamas are strictly prohibited in first trimester? That is Kapalbhati, as we know, it is fully movement of the abdomen. It should not be done, because as implantation is taking place, the fetus is getting attached to uterus. Obviously, Kapalbhati and Bastrika pranayama, that is Below's breath, should be like obviously we know Mika, obviously we know that Bhastrika Pranayama is rapid breathing. So these both should be avoided in first trimester. And again, general guidelines are obviously consult her gynecologist before starting, or it should be strictly done with like in front of the yoga instructor. Practice in a comfortable seated position with adequate back support to maintain proper posture. Begin with short sessions, gradually increase duration as comfort allows. As I said, initially begin with 5 to 7 cycles. Then when they are comfortable, when they are able to do comfortably, they can increase the cycles. Pay attention to your body signals. If any discomfort or dizziness occurs, discontinue the practice and consult a physician. Like though they like pregnancy is normal, they started the pranayama in a comfortable way only, but after some practice, if they are feeling discomfort or if they are not feeling good to continue, you can stop there. That was about first trimester. And in second trimester, as the baby is growing rapidly, there will be more necessity of oxygen to a mother, so that will get benefited in second trimester pranayama, and with that the blood circulation will be becoming good by doing pranayama, and pregnancy related discomforts like heartburn, mood swings, these all will be corrected. And with that the pranayama will make the pregnant woman to ready for the labor by how? By improving her breath controlling. So in second trimester also we can advise Anuloma Viloma, Brahmari, Ujjayi and deep abdominal breathing. That is nothing but Dirgha Pranayama. And again Kapalbhati, Bhastrika Pranayama are strictly avoided, and any techniques involving breath retention like Kumbhaka. Already we discussed. And in third trimester, here the as the labor is nearing, the pranayama makes the or helps the pregnant woman to improve or to make it will make the pregnant woman ready to labor. How? As we saw, like by breath controlling or by giving oxygenation or by lung increasing the lung capacity, it will help the pregnant woman to make or to get ready for the labor. So, as I said, enhances oxygen supply, calms the nerve system, helps manage common discomforts, improves focus and mental clarity, supports diaphragmatic movements. Obviously, as our breathing techniques are involving, so it will give the mothers to have the breathing techniques. And which all pranayama we can advise in third trimester? Obviously, Anuloma Viloma, Bhramari, Ujjayi, Dirgha Pranayama. And here another included is Shitali Pranayama. That is in English it is known as cooling breath. Why it is known as cooling breath? Because this pranayama has in third trimester, the pregnant woman will be facing very much gut problems like especially heartburns or loose stools or disturbed indigestion. Some women will cause constipation like heart stools. So these all will be due to pitta dosha vitiation in her body. So this pitta dosha vitiation will create all these GIT issues. We should subside it, right? How we should subside? Obviously, this is one of the step or this is one of the type which we can balance the pitta dosha. How? Has now air is normal air, right? But here we should inhale through tongue. By air is moving inside by touching our tongue surface and airway surface, it will become cool. So this whatever pitta vitiation happened, that will be cooled by our this technique. So they named as cooling breath or Shitali Pranayama. But how it should be done? Obviously, sit in relaxed position by spine straight, and you should use the chin mudra or dhyana mudra, and you should sit straight. You should inhale. This hole should create on your tongue. You can twist or you can roll your tongue. There should be a small hole, and we should inhale the breath with that tongue. So if you practice, you will get to know. When we are inhaling, we are feeling somewhat cool sensation on our tongue, right? Though the air is warm surrounding us, if it is moving through our tongue surface, it will become cool in our body. But Again, like these steps of this Shitali Pranayama is inhale through tongue, hold the breath for some time in a tongue. And how you should exhale? You should close the right nostril and you should exhale through left nostril. But as we know that Kumbhaka, holding the breath in pregnant women should be avoided. But here we are not holding the breath for longer duration, for few seconds, or till the woman feels discomfort, she can hold and she can leave immediately. And this is the normal step of Shitali Pranayama. But what about if the some clients may complain that they are not able to hold this tongue movement, rolling of tongue, they are not getting how to do it. So what about them? Another small trick is there here. Has we are rolling the tongue to a smaller whole portion and we are inhaling, right? Initially, advise them to try to roll their tongue only. But in any condition, if they are not able to roll the tongue, small tips how they can inhale. They can uh, close their mouth to small one, like pout, like taking a selfie, how we will do, pout one. But the small hole should be present in center of the lips. They can inhale. Again, though we will not feel that much cold like how we roll our tongue, but if they do in a small hole portion, if they open only small hole, but how they should inhale, that air should touch their tongue surface, so that same Shitali, like cold air will be inhaled. They should, according to like breathing technique, they should, after inhaling, they should bend like this. They should hold for few seconds breathing. Then they should exhale by closing right nostril, through left nostril. They should exhale. And after every, like after every cycle, obviously now see, for me only it's like feeling like suffocation, right? So they can't do it continuously. After one cycle, after inhaling, they are holding a breath and they are exhaling. They should take one normal breath, and then again next cycle they should do. So like this, initially they can do 5 to 7 cycles. Then as they are able to do, they can extend it. So this is Shitali Pranayama. And pranayama techniques to avoid in third trimester, obviously same, like Kapalbhati, Bhastrika, and breath retention, Kumbhaka, should be avoided. And precautions in third trimester, consult your doctor before practicing pranayama. Obviously, practice in a well-ventilated space, sit in comfortable position, avoid over-exertion, practice on an empty stomach to have a good result and also to avoid the complications. Labor preparation with pranayama, rhythmic breathing. Why we want this? Because like when contraction starts, usually it will give pressure on the chest, right? So it is better nearer to labor. In till 9th month or till nearer to labor, they can practice only these pranayamas which we discussed. But as the pregnant woman is going nearer to labor, she can practice the rhythmic breathing. But how? Practice slow, control breathing, so that when she had contraction, she can breathe normally, or she can hold, she can get holding on breathing, or visualization with the breath, combine breathing with mental imaginary to stay calm during labor. So this is just a breathing techniques, like she can have a normal breathing and she can stay calm during contractions or during delivery. When and how long to practice? Obviously, as we discussed, in empty stomach, morning or evening they can practice. Cycles, as I said, 5 to 7 cycles, or they can increase till 10 cycles, that they can do. Or how much duration they can have, or they are like comfort, they can go for like 10 to 15 minutes daily. Consistency is key to driving benefits. So obviously, like if they are doing one day and if they are skipping one day, it will not give results also, and also they will get discomfort instead of getting benefits. So if they are doing, they should be constantly, they should do on daily basis. So this was the topic.